Hi all, Prompt here. Look, this is going to be one of my longer, more in-depth videos, so I will be putting timestamps in the description. This is going to be my rise and fall of the Trapdoor Dust Loop. So I put a lot of work into this one. I've even got I wouldn't call it a script, but a checklist of things we need to get through so that this video was a success. So basically I'm going to show how 1.16.5 begins the the Trapdoor Dust Loop exploit and provides an ability to get a CCE Shulker. We'll cover that. And then how 1.17 to 1.18.2 works slightly differently in terms of how they get the CCE Shulker with the NicNac machine and the item shadowing mechanics. And in the last part of the video, we'll show what happens when you update from 1.18.2 to 1.20.1, which is the last version with the CCE Shulker, but the first version with this calibrated Sculk sensor. So that if you're just interested for the sound suppression part of the video, you could go to the timestamp in the description, just click on it, go right to it, if that's the only thing you haven't seen yet. So, but we'll start from 1.16.5 and we will end on 1.20.1 showing off how sound suppression works. Sound suppression isn't patched until 1.21.1, so you could play the game on 1.21 with a super powerful exploit if you started the game on a version between 1.16 and 1.18.2. Whoa, what a mouthful. Anyways, let's get on to point 1. Block update detection lines and suppression. So this can be something easy to overlook, but it's very important to understand how these work, and they're not that difficult. So if you know where your suppressor is, the arms, and a bud line can only be one arm. I've got two here because of two different types to show you. So the first one we'll focus on is this one. Goes into the north direction. You always want them to be going in a negative direction away from your suppressor. This one's very simple, so I can show how it works. See, you got a powered rail line going to this point, and then it turns off on that last segment before the suppressor. If you put a redstone block over the powered rail line, it won't continue to propagate. All right? It's a weird quirk, but if you put it here, it will. But if you put a piece of glass here, then it will update that powered off rail and then chain the updates down because it knows that there's a redstone here now. But if I remove that glass and that redstone, it's now not powered anymore, but it doesn't know it's powered again until the next update, which could just be a glass there again, or many other things. Now, I've created a little process to automate this for the video. That's why there's two up there already, and they're not at the same speed. I put the repeater at 4 for the redstone and 1 for the glass, so that they go down and up in the right order to bud the line. Beautiful. All right. Now, how's this useful? Say I break a block along this bud line like that. It turns off. Let's rebud it. All we're doing is chaining the updates, and then we're sending them down this rail. And that system over there that I'm going to show can show how to make the rail as long as you want. The bud line, I should say. Now, say we've budded the line, and we got a portal here, and our suppressor isn't on yet. What if we turn the suppressor on? Now, this is a one-shot, but you break it, and you've blocked that update. Turn your suppressor back off. Rebud the line. Suppressor back on to suppress the next update, and I can put a little piece of glowstone in there, and you can imagine what's now possible. Now, let's turn the suppressor off and show how this works with this version. Now, I've left this one powered off just to show you how easy it is to set it up. You could do something similar, but you just do one redstone, remove the redstone, and it's set. You can make something similar to reset it because every time you suppress, you need to rebud this one. But if you're not suppressing, it stays butted. So this is called robust instant wire. It's beautiful. Now, if we turn our game mode to survival, and we got 25 sandstone, let's turn our suppressor on and go to the end of this rail here. And take a sandstone and place it. Okay, it suppressed that update. So if I look at my inventory and just click on the sandstone, it'll go back to 25. And I break that, and now I've got 26. To create this, as long as it's going in the negative direction, make sure your rails look like this and your observers look like that. You should get the idea. Perfect. Turn that off. On to the next part of the video, which should be the NicNac to CCE Method A, not working before 1.16. Looks like we got a shulker here. Let's just break it. That's too soon. Turn that off. Just now it's back at a proper demonstration state of being. Flippable book, good. Lectern, good. Shulker, good. Move these things up here out of the way. Yeah, double handling. Let's get our lectern in place. The book should have 2 pages, flippable page 1, flippable page 2, just so that you can open it and flip it like so. Now, this NicNac machine is this right here, and that's its tiny little bud line that we're using. But they're a little bit more finicky, which you may see, unfortunately. So you turn that on there, and this, in case you missed it, is in subtract mode, this comparator. And that is so this redstone is only on 1 always. Once you've got this tiny little portion of the machine set up, you take your redstone and you crouch and you right click. And then to safely get the machine to its most off state, you just keep right clicking this with the trapdoor open. It seems to be safe and off. Now let's power it up by closing the trapdoor and then clicking this note block. It's always right clicking. And it seems to be on. Let's click it again. I'm feeling pretty good about this. All these rail lines are powered up. Every right click there seems to work. Now moment of truth. Flip the book once. And then we go to break the lectern while holding the shulker. And I think that worked. So if we do /data get block where we're looking, it's a lectern. So that worked on the first try. So this is now a class cast exception shulker. And we'll show how those work over here. So you've seen how to hook one of those up to a bud line now, how to make one of those. Now let's see how do we use it. And we'll start with how do you use it for duping. Okay, so you got your shulker. We've got our shield, which is just any block that you charge with a lever on top. Lever has to be on top. At least for what I've been doing. Seems to be the best place to have it. And if you turn off the shield, it's now suppressing what's happening in this little box. And we turn the shield back on, no longer suppressing, so we can take our duped items out without them being deleted. Now we have more redstone. It's that simple. The only thing that's as simple as that is maybe the shadowing on 1.16.5. Ignore this gold plate and this little bit. This is for later. This is for 1.18.2. So let's get the comparator set up. Turn off our shield. Flip our trapdoor so it's primed just like that. Okay, trapdoor down, shield down. And I'm going to grab 2 pearls. And I'm going to click on this furnace. And those pearls are in slot 8. Okay. Actually, now they're in 9, 8, 7. Now they're in slot 7. But I hover over this slot in the furnace, and I press 7 on my keyboard to move it without clicking it into the furnace. Presto. So what you'll see happening here is I've hooked up a redstone clock to this comparator to keep checking that what's in the furnace is current. Otherwise, the comparators get stuck sometimes. So I know that it thinks there's something in the furnace. But you'll notice these pearls have already appeared back down in my slot 7. Okay? Usually you got to click a container to refresh your inventory, but that time it just happened on its own. A little happy accident. And then I'll use one of these pearls in the stack to set a pearl. But I don't think I really needed to use pearls. And then I click this to go really far away. And you can throw the pearl, click the pearl, anything you want with the pearl. I just like to click it. So just to try to move it safely still, if I put my mouse here and press 7, I can safely move the pearl. All right. But if I click the pearl, we're back. So that's really handy if you've got, one of these setups in your spawn chunks, or if you're just in a place where this is with a chunk loader. Chunk loader could also make this useful. And the best part about the 116.5 shadowing is your shadowed item is in a furnace, so it won't despawn for shadowing for later. So that's 1.16.5. We're now going to move to 1.18.2. So now that we're on this version here, we can go over the NicNac machines. So we've finished 1.16.5. We're doing NicNac Method B. So NicNac Method B, we need to have a comparator facing like that. And I'm using the same book. Don't flip the book. Don't do any of that. I'm just using the same book for convenience. And you'll remember we turn it on like that first. Then we crouch, right click. Then we forcefully power it down. Then we close the trapdoor to power it up. And then I close the trapdoor to power it up even more until it does nothing, which is what I like. Once I'm sure it's as powered up as I can get it, I open the trapdoor. And I come over here and I close this trapdoor. Okay. And we start breaking this lectern, and we hope that it works on the first try. Now, I think it worked. Data block. Lectern. First try. All right, so that's how you make the CCE Shulker from version 1.17 to 1.18.2. Very simple. Very easy. Dare I say, cheap. I mean, as long as you've gotten Shulker shells at that point of your playthrough, which is pretty awesome. Now we come over to here, and I'm going to show that duping is exactly the same. Place, 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 with this pressing on. Then I take my redstone, and now I have more redstone. Not very exciting. All right. Whoa. Now let's put a comparator here. So we've got this primed, well, not primed. It's this basically safety version on. And let's get our inventory ready. First of all, the furnace. We need a full stack of some uncommon item in there that's preferably cheap. So I'm using bottles. And then half a stack of that same item in your inventory. Okay. And then sand is really important to have. You'll see in a moment. To fill the rest of your inventory, just have a stack of sand on you. Okay, so it's looking something like this. The full stack of your special, cheap, unusual item up there. And then the half stack down here. And now let's prime our setup. So we're going to turn off this, turn off the shield so it's suppressing. We're going to flip that trap door to avoid a crash. And I want to stand right here, okay? So basically, I want to make sure this gold plate is halfway between me and the furnace. Like so. Hopefully it's about right. Now, I right-click on the furnace. And over here in the menu area, you see your glass. If you click on the glass, it should cause this weird situation to occur. So notice we've got 32 bottles on the gold plate. Again, first try, because the landing is kind of random sometimes. And then we want to go back into our inventory. I can merge all my sand again now. And do not click this stack, because that's a shadow stack in there. But we have to take it out to bring it with us for any usability. So I'm going to put these bottles here out of the way, and 9/8, I'm going to put these into my slot 7 instead. Beautiful. And then I'm going to move them over here for safekeeping, because I don't like them in my hotbar. Okay, so now we have 2 shadow stacks, one on the gold plate, one in my inventory, and again I'll set the pearl. Wonderful. Pearl is set. And then we'll go somewhere far, far away. And I'm sure some of you already know what's coming if you've been watching the video thus far. I can throw other items. I can click other items, move them around, whatever I want. I can do it. But this stack right here, you touch it, and you're back. The pearl is triggered. Obviously, these chunks need to be loaded by being in spawn chunks or in a chunk loader. If you're playing in a single player world, this is super nice because you just have something like this in your spawn chunks. Anyways, that was item shadowing. That was item duplication. And I think we're at a really exciting point of the video now where we've just finished 1.18.2. How do you go from here? Because this is the last version with the NicNac machine. So your playthrough, you'd want to start here at the latest. 1.18.2 is the latest version that you can start doing this process. But now, let's close it and go to 1.20.1, which is our next really important version. 1.20.1. Now, why is it important? Because in 1.20.2, they patched the CCE Shulker and it's gone. But hope is not lost thanks to Igna and Wave Tech and all those big brains out there, because the calibrated Sculk sensor, the funny, can live on. Now, this is actually not, I've messed this up so many times, and you'll see why in a moment. So the easy part is this setup, okay? This is the easy part. Let's just get that here. An observer looking at the calibrated Sculk thingy. Note block here. I honestly don't know why these things are where they are. And just because I want to be able to stand here, magnificent. So this setup is the first thing you want going. And then to see if it's working at the end, I'm just going to put a trapdoor here. You'll understand when you see it. And let's get a lectern here. Oh, we need a 15-page book. That's really important, the 15-page book. Also, what's really important that I missed, what's super important, is the carpet hat. Because that's what connects this to the suppressor. Once that carpet breaks, the suppression connection is gonskis. All right, so this is the easy part to get to. Now I've got my hoe, a book, a chest, a comparator, and a lectern. Now the suppressor, it's time to turn it on. Wish me luck. So when this door closes, we start to break. And then we break the door. It's not really there. You see it. I know you do. Believe me, it's not really there. And we want to get this book onto page 8. It's a certain sound channel that's the safest one. It's just consuming food. And then we want to put this chest here. Beautiful. So it's facing away. And now I think we have done this perfectly. Now you see this hoe in my hand? There's different sounds do different things, and the sound for item frame duping is 11. So now if I go over here and I click that, we're just making hoes. We're just duping them. And they're actual dupes, not shadow items. Now you're probably going, channels, what? What do I do now? This is kind of my cheat sheet. This is a setup I already had set up over here. Consumables is my safety channel. And also on the internet, you can go to the Calibrated Sculk sensor wiki page in the fandom, and it tells you what each channel's for. But I'm going to show you the good ones here. Frame dupe was 11. That was pretty cool. But what about unbreakable items? If I change this to, say, 12, block breaking is canceled, or suppressed. That is still there. Looks like I was able to knock the item frame off, though, because it's not a block breaking sound. Good to know. Not everything is invulnerable, but breaking blocks is invulnerable. Now, block dupe is an interesting one. Notice I've got a shulker here, one black shulker in my inventory. If I go to 13 and I place this shulker, and then place it again, and place it again, and place it again, it will just keep placing, and you can break them before you even change the channel. So yeah, you can just dupe shulkers this way as well. And I say as well because the CCE Shulker is dead in this version, right? So we're replacing our duping with this, and the item frame seems to be the way to go. Also the block dupe, unbreakable stuff is cool. And 9. 9 is one that I won't go into for this video because we kind of reached my stopping point, and I guess this is the point where I should say watch Igna's videos. Watch his sound suppression video. It's really well done. And I would say if you want to watch more in depth on how this all works, he'll show you how to turn that into a bud line. And at the beginning of my video, we covered bud lines and how to use them. But basically, number 9 is the sound of a trapdoor opening and closing. And so he's put like a trapdoor on a block and then a redstone line coming out from that. And if you turn that into a bud line, the block update is detected and suppressed when the trapdoor flips. It's really cool. And with that said, I think I'm at a stopping point for this video. Thanks for watching.